continue digging deeper into the man police say is responsible for a shooting spree across Central Texas. Shane James is now charged with capital murder. 6 people died and 3 others were hurt across Austin and San Antonio. This all started in Bexar County, where his parents Phyllis and Shane James were found dead. And then police say he shot an AISD officer at Northeast Early College High School in Austin. That officer has since been released from the hospital. And then from there, officers found Emmanuel Papa and Sabrina Rahman on Shadywood Drive. One of them was pronounced dead on the scene, and the other would be taken to the hospital where they would later die. And later the same day, a cyclist on Slaughter Lane would be shot, and we're told he is out of the hospital. We were told that by the owner of ATX Bikes. Now, a burglary call would send officers to Austral Loop, where they say James shot an officer and drove away. 2 more bodies would be found inside that home. A crash on SH 45 and FM 1826 would end James's shooting spree, and he would be taken into custody. As investigators put the pieces together, the Bexar County Sheriff gave a description of James's criminal activity last year. Here's some of what he had to say.
March 7th, he was released from jail. On March 8th, we now know that he cut off his ankle monitor. At that point in time, it's interesting to note, it was not actually a criminal offense to cut off an ankle monitor during that time. At that time, it became a criminal offense this past September to cut off your ankle monitors.
Well, the sheriff is referencing a new law that went into effect this fall, making it a felony offense to tamper with an ankle monitor. KXAN investigator Avery Travis joining us now with more on really what changed, and Avery, why that changed.
Yeah, Jen, previously, if someone was out on parole or even just out on bond, cut off or disabled one of these ankle monitors, it was considered an administrative violation or a parole violation, but it did not carry its own additional criminal offense. This session, Dallas lawmaker Senator Joan Huffman put forth a bill, though, to make it do just that. It would create harsher penalties when this happens. The legislation was proposed after 2 hospital workers were allegedly shot and killed by a man out on parole who did have an ankle monitor. Governor Greg Abbott said in a letter back then, quote, "It is clear that the ankle monitors, a condition of their parole, were not effective in deterring or otherwise preventing these individuals from going on to commit violent crimes." He was referencing not only this case, but another case out of Dallas.
And we know certainly, Avery, that this was a big priority for Governor Greg Abbott.
Right. He sent that letter actually just a few days before the legislative session began to the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker of the House. That was at the beginning of this year. Now, after Senator Huffman's bill passed, he signed it into law in May, and then it went into effect in September. And that is an important date to keep in mind.
Okay, and so that brings us back now to Shane James's case.
Right. The Bexar County Sheriff you heard from a few minutes ago says when James removed his ankle monitor last year, his misdemeanor assault charges that he was facing then became active warrants. That's what was the process at the time. And because the law wasn't in effect yet, he wasn't facing any additional felony charges.
Do you all want them to camp out outside of a home for misdemeanor warrants that even if we get eyes on the guy, let's say we saw him through a window and we know he's in there, on a misdemeanor warrant, we don't have the authority to go kick in a door. If it were a felony warrant, absolutely. They've got the ability to go in and go after this person.
Now, sheriff's deputies did interact with James again as recently as this August, when they say they were called back to James' parents' home. He was experiencing, they say, a mental health crisis. The sheriff noted that while they were limited in how they could respond, as you heard there, not only because James was facing just misdemeanors, he said they were also trying to prevent a violent interaction with him given the previous mental health concerns.
Okay, Avery Travis, thanks so much. And of course, we have a detailed outline of all of this on our website, kxan.com.